Hello everyone. So I'm going to show you some photos with the A7V. I used the Sigma 70 to 180 and the 28 to 70 f2.8. Had problems with everything until I went to manual mode, and then I could get some sharp images at night, but most of the time it was sharper in the daytime. So I wanted to show you the kind of like the flaws I was having. Um, I found out I had it in manual focus on some, so I removed those. You turn off the camera, you take a little break, you come back and you forget what you did, and then you start taking pictures. And why is it foggy? And the reason why it's foggy is because it's in manual mode. When you hit in the back button focus, why is it not? That's why. So let's look at some pictures. Okay, here you see. Um, this is the hospital. So I'm finding that this is on a movable platform, this crane, and they moved it a little bit to the left, so it's not on the right-hand side of the ditch. It's right in the center of the ditch. And I have a clear shot now of the hospital. Of course, there's trees right here in the house, but you can see the equipment, you can see the hospital lights and stuff, and you can see the crane fully blown or in the picture. So if I go to the next one, okay, I got a point over here. So you see, it's sharper when I put it like from 70 to 180, okay, in manual mode, and then I cropped it. Okay, so the nice thing about with the A7V, I got it on the, I think the C3 button, the function 3 button, and I can just crop it between crop and full frame. And that's how I have it set up. And then there's the hospital. So you can see how sharp and clear it is at night. So this is the full frame, and then it's cropped. And then my next door neighbor, they got more light since they removed that Arizona ash, and now it's not blocking the light, and it's just more lit. But this without their movement light on and with it on. And then it was getting kind of foggy, but the lens I was using, I think this is the still the 70 to 180. No, it was 28 to 70. Sometimes at 28, it gets kind of blurry in the background. Okay, if I had it 70, it may do the same thing too, where it's not as sharp like the 70 to 180. But just wanted to point that out. Um, and it's very good at light. So I guess it was focusing on the light or the bricks instead of the tree. But you see, these are kind of sharp right here too. And the fog was starting to set in, the light rain. But even with the 180, and I think this is at a crop. Yeah, that's at a crop. So I can see, you can see how much sharper it is. But you know, a little flaring right there. And I can't remember. I think I had it in auto mode at this moment. No, it was still in manual mode. So I looked at the light. I looked at the car. That's cropped, and that's full frame. And what I like is the lighting. So you don't see the clouds or anything. It was overcast, but you can look how sharp the trees are, the lighting and stuff. It's pretty good in low light. Okay. Uh, Now, funny story about this crepe myrtle. All right, that I had planted. They removed the old one, and some deer were eating some of the leaves. And a neighbor told me about it. So I spent about a night and a day, about 4 hours, and then I kept going back to Home Depot because I forgot this, forget that, and stuff. But finally got this all taken care of, and it's all nice and tight. It's I think I did a good job. Some of the stakes don't look straight, and I am on a hill, so they're all 5 foot or 6 foot poles, but you can see that the ones on the hill, they're a little bit lower. And I messed up on the bottom part right here. I should have put it down one, but it worked. So I just left it as is, and I just overlapped it a little bit, give it more stability. But yeah, it was a hard process. Finding out that why isn't this post going down? I had the post hammer tool, and it wasn't working. And I found out there's a darn rock underneath, and you had to remove the rock in order to get down to the dirt. I used a lot of water, to soak it a little bit so it could go down deeper. And I was just using a sledgehammer on a step ladder, just pounding that darn thing. So a little ibuprofen, a little resting, I'm back to normal. I still have some Charlie horses in the leg, but anyhow, let's get back to the photo. That's my story. I got 2 more crepe myrtles that I have to deal with. So the other one, which is a smaller one, but I'll put a smaller fence and stuff on it. And then I got to prune my other crepe myrtle and then surround that one too. Keep it from the deer. My big one I don't have to worry about because the branches are high and the deer never eat from that one. So anyway, that's the other one. So I'll be putting a fence around that. And the red type of crepe myrtle doesn't grow very high, but it's going to be a beautiful tree. So I'm going to leave it like it is. That's a melon patch. I don't know what type of melon or cantaloupes it makes, but that's in the ditch. And then with the 180, you can get close to the flowers and stuff. There's some of the beautiful purple bluish flowers with some dry leaves and with the grass and stuff in the ditch. And then, of course, water. You have to worry about mosquitoes right now because the water's not draining out because of the grass, and also the fact that um, it's kind of stagnant, and it's going to rain again in the morning. So, but look at the deer. All right. And I did a video, which you'll see at the end. And if I do a focus in, look how sharp the deer are. So there's another shot, another shot. And then, of course, in the daytime, you can see the hospital crane. So cropped or 180 to 28, no, to 70 millimeters. And then I got this one with the 2 deer. And anyway, there's the 2 other crepe myrtles. So I got to put a fence around the smaller one. And then the one in the back, I have to get the lower limb so it can grow up a little bit taller this year. But it did real good. It's growing. But you have to remove the lower limbs, make it kind of bare to have it stand out for a canopy. So anyway, that's what I've been doing. And I got a little bush in the front, cropped it in. And then, of course, you can see the weather. It only sprinkled. The big rain's coming in the morning. And you can see down. I think some of the deer were eating some of these limbs right here too. So if I get these lower limbs out and make it bare and then put my fence around it, it'll protect it. So anyway, and then you can see a little, that's dirt on the sensor or on the lens. I gotta look at it. And then of course, now you're watching or you're seeing everything in the daytime. This is the big, so you see, you remove all the smaller limbs. I'm going to remove these shortly. And all the leaves are right here. And that is not on the roof. That's on the side of the roof. And anyway, beautiful white flowers. They'll come in June or July, whenever it decides to do it. And then, when you crop in, you get still a good picture. And then, in the daytime, just pick my shots. So I think this is a 2870 right here. And these are Sigma lenses, f2.8. Now, besides the spot, and it's cropped, I think at 70 millimeters, you can see the buzzards flying. Look how sharp it is. So, and then there's two more up there. And more pictures. Now, when you're at 28, this is sharp, but it becomes bokeh in the background. It's not that everything is sharp, it's just the way I had it. And that could be even at a 4.5, whatever. You can still get a little bokeh out of that lens. And that's why if it looks sharp here, but it looks kind of blurry back there, then you know why. And then of course, it's the same thing at the 70 millimeters. So you see, it's kind of sharp here, but then it starts getting blurry as you go down. Then the Jeep, cropped it in, more clouds. Now, this is distortion test. You can see I didn't have it straight on. I was kind of pointing up, but the lines are basically good horizontally, but vertically, they kind of go inward, okay? I think that's at 28 millimeters, and that's when it's cropped. So you don't see it much as cropped, but you can still see I was probably pointing wrong, and it's going from left to right and right to left, on the edges. And I think this was 28 millimeters cropped, 70 millimeters cropped. So at the 70 millimeters, you don't really see any distortion. So, and then of course the same thing with my water hose, cropped, and then the back door. So you see, very sharp. Even the light bulbs, the weather. Now the dog was a little bit off, and I don't know why, but it might have not have been focused on him. I try to get him in focus, but sometimes, if he moves just a little bit, yeah. And he dug a new hole. So now 28 cropped, 70. Yeah, I forgot to do one. 28 cropped, 70. I forgot to crop. But anyway, looking at the clouds, looking at, now this one is 28 cropped, 70 cropped. They're all sharp. And then the leaves, so that was cropped, that wasn't. That's at 28 cropped, and that's at 28 millimeters. And then of course, you know who finds the stick and he has to chew on it. And then cropped. So you can see different types now on my 7th grade lock. I've had it all this years. I'm 69 years old now. And There's the lock, then it's cropped. But you can see how sharp and clear both are. So if I increase it here, all right, I think you can see a little dent right there. Okay, it's round here, but it's been through a lot of banging, and then you can see where parts of it is worn down because of the weather and stuff, and the same thing here. So see, it looks sharp at 70, but if you still increase it, even at a crop, it still looks good. Okay, and you just get that closer view. And of course, that's growing again. I need to cut these off, and I might cut these off and let the dog play with it, because if I don't, then he's going to work on this stuff right here. And there he is again. And that's the last picture. And if we just crop in a little, you can see some leaves. And I think I picked up those leaves and stuff, the grass and whatever, in the house. So anyway, but you can see how sharp he is. So let's go and see a video. I'll say my salutations right now. Thank you for watching. Stay safe, keep smiling, and I'll see you next time. It's right on his eye, or her eye. So it's on her body, the box, completely around it. I did look at back part of her leg, thought it was an eye. But once she pops her head up, then the box goes to the eye, if she's looking at me. Yeah, it's still on the back part. I'm using the 70 to 180 Tamron G2. And it's supposed to rain shortly.